got it. I think we're live. Let's see, waiting for it to come up. Yep, awesome. Terrific. Welcome everybody to the April 2022 Metaphysical Chat. So glad to have you here. Very excited to take your questions tonight. I see we have some already in the chat lined up. Awesome. So give me just a second to get my bearings. I was just fiddling with my background before, and I noticed it was almost time. All righty, let's get that out of the way. Coolness. Okay. So let's see. It looks like we have a good handful of questions to start with. That is fabulous. How's everybody doing tonight? You feeling good? Excited about April and all the good news Metatron is bringing us? Yeah, me too. It's about time. We needed it so badly. Just rearranging my screen so that I can see everything. All right, I think that's better. Okay, so let me just take a quick look here. Hello, Kay and KT and Errol and Susan and Susan. Warrior Girl, Melissa, awesome. Welcome all of you. Hopefully a few more will join us. If you guys would hit the like button for me, that would be really awesome. Help more people to see this video. So we're going to be talking about all things metaphysical tonight, and anything and everything is on the table. So the first question we have here is from Kay. She said, I've been learning and studying metaphysical avenues for most of my 65 plus years. Need a little guidance as to what to pursue next. I'm at a very good place in life and healthy. Okay, that's kind of a personal one, Kay. So let's see if we can keep it on the metaphysical side. So for everybody, when you think about a question like Kay is asking, what does that boil down to? It's really about your soul purpose and your life journey, right? So the way that you figure that out, you can get a reading, of course, and I'll tell you from your records. But aside from that, the way to figure that out is simply what feeds your soul. If you have not yet found something in life that feeds your soul, then keep looking, first of all. Second of all, think back over your life to something that you dreamed of doing that just seemed so wonderful, something that lights you up, that you get excited about, even if it's not something that's career related, which most people tend to think of when they think about soul purpose, and it's really more than that. But think about that thing that lights you up, that you could do all day, every day, because it feels so wonderful. That is in line with your soul purpose. So as you pursue that and fall into it, what you will find is it just feels better and better and better. Keep following that path of what feels better. And the way that you make your choices is to go to your solar plexus. If you're new, you haven't heard this before, but most of you probably heard me say this a million times. You go to your solar plexus. When you think about the choice, run it through the filter of your solar plexus. Really feel it. Choose whatever feels the very best, the most delicious, because that, dear soul, is what you deserve. That's what you came here to experience. So it's always about what feels best. As you lean more into that, you will probably figure out what it is that makes you feel that way, and then just do more of it. If you really can't figure it out and you need help, then hit me up for a reading, because I can do one of those short little 15-minute ones and get you just that information. Or if you want a little more, we can do a whole soul introduction, which is fabulous and everybody should do anyway. But if that's not something that is right for you at this time, that's okay. We can still capture it in that little 15-minute reading, because everybody needs to know what their gift is. Your gift is intrinsically tied to your soul purpose. When you understand how Creator wired you, the characteristics, the aspects of your soul, it will make so much more sense. You will suddenly look back on your life and you'll go, oh my gosh, now I know why I did that, or why I chose that, why I feel this way. It just fills in all those gaps of your understanding of self. See, we all knew this stuff before we incarnated. It's just we forget it when we get here. So understanding it from that archive of your Akashic records, how your soul is wired, is a game changer. It is the most transformational experience you can have. So highly recommended to everybody. So Kay, let me know if that answers your question, because that's what we all want to do, is just lean into that thing that feels so wonderful. That's our purpose. And then sharing it with other people. So next up we have KTC. you're having problems with fear and acceptance. Again, this is kind of a personal thing, so we're going to spin it a little to make it metaphysical. So for all of us right now, this is huge. The fear and the chaos that's going on in the world, it's been triggered really by the war in Ukraine, I think, for most of us. But it was there to begin with because there's so much going on, which of course has been going on since 2015 and before, but it really ramped it up then. So all that stuff has been going on. It's been confusing as somebody on your soul path, as you're this awakening soul wanting to step into your purpose and finding all of these blocks, all this negativity, this corruption, this hatred and bigotry. That's been really hard to deal with. So it's caused a lot of fear for people. And I get that all the time. So you're not alone. Understand that. If you will listen to the message that Metatron shared for April 2022, it's on the channel. I just uploaded it. I think it was Saturday. He explains it all to you. We are actually moving out of that darkness just a little bit. We're starting to accelerate, which is, oh my gosh, fabulous news, right? Because it's been so bad for so long. But out of that, he talks a lot in this message about fear and getting over the fear. A big part of that is understanding. And I want you to look right into my eyes and get this message because it's for you, every one of you, individually. Your creator says, my beloved child, I love you to the moon and back. You are so beloved. You are my masterpiece. You are brilliant. You are magnificent. You are resplendent, and you are perfect right now. Tomorrow you'll be more perfect. Now, when God, creator, source, universe, however you call it, says that to you specifically, how can you then look at yourself and think that there's anything wrong with you, that you're inferior or lacking in any way, shape, or form? You are not. You are the equal of every single soul. That is true for all of us. Creator sees us as the masterpiece, sent here on this life journey to have experiences, which we then all feed back into the collective so that everybody can learn from them. That's how it works. We're all like these little satellites out here, like a big network. We're gathering data and we're sharing it through those network lines with everybody so that all of us are enriched and we'll take that information forward with us into more lives down the road, right? So that's how it's intended to be. So for you, when you're feeling that fear and the panic, just know you have this amazing team of angels and guides and masters and beings that were assigned to you specifically to help you through all of your life journeys, to catalog all of your experiences in your Akashic records. It's all there for you. That's how loved you are. So don't you know that if you are that loved and cared for, they are going to be there, Johnny, on the spot to help you with whatever. You will not die until your soul is ready to leave your body. So you don't have to worry about that because when it's the time, it's the time. There's nothing to be done about it. Your soul will be ready to go. What else is there to worry about, right? If you're worried about losing people because of COVID or war or whatever's going on, know that you're not losing them. They're simply crossing a threshold. They're available to you anytime you want to access them. And there are meditations on my channel for you to help you connect with them. You can ask us for help when we come together in these gatherings. Come to my third Saturday where I do personal questions and I can help you connect with them there. So you have all these options. There's no reason to go into grief and shutting down your life thinking it's over because somebody crossed a threshold. Because truly, I say to you, they are just on the other side of the doorway and you can connect with them anytime you want. All it requires is a little practice to be able to become fluent in it. And part of that can come to you if you join us in Metatron's 21-day meditation challenge, which is also on my website. So it's all available to you. It's there. You can tap into it. It just takes practice. And we've got a wonderful, lovely support group, some of whom are here tonight, to share experiences to help you. And when you hear what other people are experiencing, it takes the fear away because it's like, oh, I got the same thing. So there's nothing wrong with me. Again, that thing wrong with me, because that just keeps coming up. But we need to abolish that. We are coming into a time when we are being asked to step up to more responsibility as awakened souls. Our vibrational frequency is rising so that we will be able to make that shift into fourth dimensional life. And that's where that new responsibility comes from, which we're going to talk about more in a minute on another topic. But it's there for you. It's time to embody that understanding, live that, let go of the fear and panic, because there's nothing to be afraid of. Your angels have got you every step of the way, right? I hope that makes sense. So let me know. Now I babbled a really long time. So let me get some more questions. Then we'll come back to that other thing I want to tell you about. Errol, is there anything specific you should focus on in your spiritual journey? Again, that's a personal question, so I'm going to flip it to metaphysical. For everybody, what you should focus on in your journey is that thing that feeds your soul, that helps you rise up into the authority of a sovereign soul, living your purpose. If all of us just did that, this world would be fixed in an instant. We're all living our purpose in alignment with our soul. All the negative crap would be gone. We would all be here on this journey as light workers, helping one another, helping the earth to move into fourth dimensional reality. And that's where we hit Earthtopia. So as we all come together working on that purpose, things will change. And again, there's nothing to worry about it. It's so simple, right? When you think about it, it feels complicated. And yet it really is that simple. Work on you, work on doing what feeds your soul. And then from that, you will be in this state of soul bliss, soul nirvana. You will feel so wonderful that this love will just overflow from you to the world without you even having to do anything, because it will just flow. You're overflowing with it. And they will feel that and be changed. It will lift everyone up. So that's the simple assignment that Creator has given to all of us. We are the ones who make it complicated. Time to let that stuff go. Susan, glad to be here. Your phone is the only thing that works. Oh my gosh, you're having a power outage. Oh no, I had that last time we did this. So here's to Susan's power coming back. 2,500 people without power. Wow. Yeah. There are some wacky storms going on, and just know, we're going to be experiencing more of that. Metatron has talked about that for a few months, that part of this shift of Earth into fourth dimensional reality means that she's having to repair and adjust a lot of things because of the damage that we've done to her, as well as moving herself energetically to the fourth dimension. That's tumultuous. So it's going to be a bumpy ride for a while, but it's just part of the process. And again, fall back on the knowledge and understanding that your angels have got you in the palms of their hands, right there for you every moment. Ask, 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 and ask again for whatever you need. They will be there to help you. Warrior Girl, you got a notification about tornadoes down south again? Yeah. And again, they're not usually there, right? So it's more of this wacky weather. So love and blessings. Stay safe to all of those out there. And we'll just send that bubble, that dome of love, light, protection for them to keep them safe. Susan, it's estimated to come back by 7. Oh, okay. Well, maybe by the time we're finished, you'll have power. Melissa says, aloha from Texas. Great to have you here. K is for Kathy. Thank you. You'll probably have to remind me of that again, because there are so many names that I don't always remember them all. Doing my best though. Donna says, hello. Jennifer says, hi. Janet, sleep paralysis, what is it and why do people experience it? Oh, that's a great question, Janet. So sleep paralysis happens when your soul has left your body during sleep. You're traveling to astral planes, and then something in your body triggers and your body wants to wake up, but the soul's not back yet. So the body can't wake up until the soul returns. That's what that is. It's really scary as heck when it happens, but just know that it's a natural thing. It's just your body was waking up prematurely and soul wasn't ready to jump back in yet. So just breathe, relax, and allow the soul to come back. It'll all be fine. And then you'll wake up naturally. So if you can keep that in mind, I know it's hard when you're asleep, but if you can keep that in the back of your mind so that you don't go into panic, because that only makes things harder for you. And it doesn't need to be hard. It's a perfectly natural thing that your soul will leave and do all that traveling, going to soul school and doing what other activities your soul has going on, because the soul doesn't need sleep. The body needs sleep. So we are doing a lot of stuff during the time that the body is sleeping. Oh, Susan lost the signal. I hope you can come back later. Angelita says, hi, great to have you here. Susan wants to know what I consider the way homeopathy works in our bodies a metaphysical thing. It's homeopathy isn't really metaphysical. It's actually quite natural. But let me know what the question is and I'll see if we can work it in. Kay says, yes. Kathy, it does answer your questions. Great. Alyssa, your 60th birthday. Happy birthday. That is so wonderful. 60 is a magic year. I don't know if you know that or not, Alyssa, but it is a phenomenal new chapter of your life. So go for the gusto, really enjoy it. So much will come to you in this 60th year. There's just something really special about it. Does Metatron have advice what to do on birthdays? Well, the really cool thing about birthdays and the Akashic records is you can go into your records and you can use one of my meditations to do that. And you can say, hey, I'm here. It's my birthday. What do you want to share with me? And truthfully, you can do that any day. You don't have to do it on the exact day of your birthday. But when you do, they will often come up with this most amazing experience for you. And the funny thing, if you don't go and ask, they're going to have a party anyway, because on your natal birthday, they go in and they archive all the records from the previous year. Get ready to start over with a new set for the new year. So when I've gone in on my birthday, it's been these really amazing experiences that I think I've shared it a few places in writing and probably on some of these videos. But the one that sticks with me the most is one year Jesus came in and danced with me for my birthday. He's wearing a tuxedo. I'm wearing a ball gown. We're waltzing. We're doing the cha-cha. We just had a ball. It was so much fun. And then a whole bunch more stuff happened after that. One of these days, I'll get that into a book. But for right now, yeah, that's all I can remember off the top of my head. But it was a really fabulous experience. And each time you go in on your birthday, there will be something very special because they are always uplifting you, teaching you new things, helping you to shift into that higher consciousness being that your soul is trying to be. So yeah, I highly recommend go and get your birthday reading. It's fabulous. And I do offer those on my website if you're not able to do it yourself. Susan, no, I got you. Alyssa, there we go. Hey, you guys, I'm almost at the bottom and I don't have that many questions. So jump in there and ask if you've got any that you've been waiting on. Warrior Girl, metaphysical, if there are 12 astrological signs, the sun and the moon or the planets, does that mean that there are 3 planets that we haven't discovered yet? I'm not sure I understand that. Well, let me just ask. So are there planets that we haven't discovered yet? Let's just start with that. Oh, yeah. Yeah, because, there are galaxies beyond ours that we haven't even ventured into yet. And, in the soul introduction that I do for people to, help them understand about their gifts and the planet that they originated from, their soul tribe, there are only 22 soul tribes. And in those 22 soul tribes, there are some where we don't know exactly where that planet is. It's somewhere outside of our system. Like the blueprinters, we talked about them last month. We just know that they're ancient. They've been here since before humanity started evolving into, who we are now from the primitive beings. And they've been working on the evolution since then. So, eons. We don't know what planet they came from because they superseded, but somewhere way far out there. And they are very active in helping every time Earth goes through a transformative period like we're going through now, where we are rising up on the evolutionary scale. So there's lots of blueprinters hanging around, which is why they keep coming up in conversation. And it's interesting, more of them are showing up for readings lately too, because, they need guidance to understand what they're here to do. And it's really fascinating. So I know over time, we will learn more about them. So yeah, Warrior Girl, I hope that answers your question. There's a lot more out there we don't know about yet. Susan, what does Metatron say about the lesson for the war in Ukraine? He mentioned, I think it was last month's forecast, he talked about how the people of Ukraine have, as a people, volunteered to be, quote, sacrificial lambs. So we're going through this whole transformation with Earth and the people, and some catalyst was needed to shake us out of this place that we've been in where everything is so dark, corrupt, and chaos, all that stuff. So something needed to happen to wake people up and to get them to start thinking again about coming together as people, having more compassion with one another, letting go of all of that judgment and the horrific acts that have been taking place. So this was part of the major plan. This was one of those fixed points in time where that would happen, something big would shift. And it just happened to be Ukraine. Probably karmically, there's something about that area that made them a match for this particular shift that we're going through. But that's pretty much what Metatron says. It's expected. It's part of the plan. So don't go into fear and panic about it. What you can do is just keep sending love and light to them, and that will help. And, the angels are also there taking care of them. We have seen that over and over where angels have stepped in and helped them. And also know that the people who are dying there, their souls were ready to go. So that's part of the reason they incarnated there, because they wanted that experience in their lifetime. And then they would be the ones who would leave in the midst of all of this chaos and this war. So it's all part of the plan. But I don't want you to think of that like puppets either, because we're not puppets. We have free choice. There are just certain things that we as souls agreed to participate in, or, the time that we leave may be tied to bigger things that are going on in the world. It's all over the map, the experiences that we choose as souls. But we don't want to get into feeling pity for the people of Ukraine. We want to lift them up in love and light, honor the sacrifice that they are making, because it is a sacrifice. It's very sacred what they're doing, and it's for the good of all. So it's a wonderful thing that's going on. If we can keep that in mind when we're listening to the news and hearing all the darkness and, what they're trying to scare us with, we can put aside the fear and we can know this is part of the plan. This needed to happen in order to help us move forward into our process of fourth dimensional ascension. I hope that makes sense, Susan. Let me know. Oh, all of a sudden we got more questions. Great. So now we're moving. Okay, it jumped. Let me find it. Third Saturday. No, third Saturday is on Zoom, Kay. And you can sign up to get the Zoom link on my website. I'll give you that address. Sign up for my VIP list, and then I'll send you on the night before a link to get onto Zoom, and then I'll send it again on Saturday just so you have it handy. So we meet at 11 a.m. on the third Saturday, and that's Eastern Daylight Time. And we go for 90 minutes or so taking personal questions. So that's a different vibe from what we're doing here. And it's a different experience because I can see your faces, so we can interact. Now, I don't show your faces when I post the video for privacy. I just have my face stuck there. But we can interact. And then for the personal stuff, it's easier for me to access that when I can actually see you and connect with you. I can get it here, but it's a little harder. And it's not as flowing as what we can do here with just these metaphysical questions, if that makes sense. Donna says, what metaphysical question does Metatron wish we would ask tonight? Okay, so Metatron, what would you like people to ask of you tonight? Well, I don't know if you'd call it metaphysical, but Metatron says what he'd like you to ask is how you can fall deeper in love with yourself. And we pretty much talked about that earlier when I gave you that whole soliloquy about who you are to your creator. And that reminds me, if you go to the meditations on my channel, there is one that I did on a podcast with my friend Melinda. And it's a conversation and a connection with God, with your creator. And in this one, you are an infant cradled in the arms of God who looks down into your eyes. You connect eye to eye and you have this amazing experience. You can even imagine what that feels like. Do that meditation. That will help a lot. You will feel so much better about yourself because, we got to get over all this crap about being unworthy sinners. That is a lie that's been perpetuated on us by people who wanted to control us. It is not true. God never said that. People said that. God says you're amazing, brilliant, perfect, magnificent, resplendent, beautiful. That's who you are to your creator. So for you to think anything else, you're essentially saying God is wrong, right? And who wants to do that? Do you want to argue with God, creator, universe, source? I don't. Took me a while to get there because I had crappy self-esteem too. But when you get that enough times, when you have those experiences with creator, when you feel that love, when you're being enveloped by your angels, given to you by your creator, by the way, you feel that love and you absorb that love. Then you come to a space of saying, oh, I get it. Yeah, I really am amazing. Thank you. And that's not in an egotistical way at all. Let that notion go. That's in a very humble way, very loving way of understanding who you are as a soul and what you are about here in this world. So highly recommend that meditation. Those are all free on my channel, you guys. So take advantage of them. Shakti, any messages from the Wesak Festival of the Angelic Realm and the Masters? I don't have a clue what that is, but I'll ask. Okay, Wesak Festival from the Angelic Realm. Anything you want to share from the festival and the angels? Oh, they're sending you so much love. And they're saying the festival is all about them amping up the energy to almost a frenetic level so that it will reach out further across the universe and touch more people. So they are working steadfastly to raise that vibration and continue beaming it out to us because we need it right now so badly. So that's what they want you to know. They also are working on your behalf. How amazing is that? There is so much out there that Creator has put in place to take care of us. That is just one more aspect of it. It's another way that certain creations are serving the rest of us. It's so beautiful. It's the season of Wesak in the Himalayas. Cool. Angelita says, happy birthday to Alyssa. Janet says, thank you. You experienced sleep paralysis in your 20s. Well, I hope you're not getting it anymore. And Janet, do me a favor. Always Deborah, never Debbie, please. I don't like to be called Debbie. I used to be that person, but I no longer am. So today I'm Deborah. Okay. Where did it go? I just had it in front of me. It disappeared. Alyssa says, thank you. You're welcome. Hey, Sharon Saib, welcome. Glad to have you here. Susan, the 12 signs don't necessarily have to do with the planetary bodies. Okay. Yeah, I'm not really up on astrology, so you're over my head with that one, but that would make sense being as we know there are 22 soul groups, right? And so there must be at least 22 more planets, but I'm convinced there's way more than that because Creator made this galaxy and so many others, the multiverse, so vast. There's a lot more out there. And we will discover it eventually when we need to. Chris, you've had readings where you've been told wonderful things that you were surprised about, but appreciated hearing, and it was feeling good about yourself, but then you thought, oh, or you thought they were putting you on. No, I don't think so, Chris. If that's coming to you from your angels, from your teachers, your masters, that's being channeled to you. That's divine love, and that is real. It's visceral. You can feel it if you allow yourself to. The part of you that says it's not true is your ego. And that's your ego just trying to hold you back and keep soul from soaring as it wants to do. So don't listen to it. It's not true. I have been told so many times by so many different teams, by Metatron, by Creator themselves, about this magnificent, brilliant, resplendent. That's the reason it just keeps rolling off my tongue, because they keep saying it. So I have to keep repeating it. And it will keep coming as a message until we finally let it sink in, accept it, embody it, and live it. That's who you are. And I can tell you from my own experience, because my self-esteem was like basement level, and it took me quite a while to come out of all of that old karma that I had to release, the victim stuff, and move into this work before it finally sunk in. And it's like, oh, if God says that, it's got to be true. So I'm just going to go with it and feel it. And it really feels so wonderful. it will help you on your soul journey to get into alignment with your soul. Because if you're accepting that you are this divine soul on a mission of consciousness expansion, then you've let all that stuff go and you could just be that. You can flow into it. Life will be so much sweeter when that happens. So I hope you give yourself that gift, Chris. Oop, we jumped again. Where did you go? Hate it when it does that. There we go. Okay. So Susan says, homeopathy seems magical and mystical, like a gift from the creator. You don't know enough yet to know how it works to ask specific questions. So just in general, homeopathy, it's based on the concept of like treats like. So if you've got a rash, for instance, they make a remedy out of something that causes a rash. Like there's this remedy called rust tox. It's called the rusty hinge remedy because it's for lubricating your joints. If you've got arthritis, you want to take rust tox. It's made from poison ivy, which is, it just seems crazy, right? But when you take the poison ivy and you run it through this process that they use to distill these things for the homeopathic remedies, it's diluted down and it's succussed, right? It's vibrated thousands of times. And then it's diluted down until there's only a teeny, teeny, minute amount of the original poison ivy left. And when you treat that with, you use that to treat the, what did I say? Arthritis and a whole bunch of other stuff, because these remedies all work for multiple things. So when you put them together, it's that like versus like thing that triggers your body to start healing. It is kind of magical, but it's all based on science. And if you think about it, what are vaccines doing, right? The pharmaceuticals just took the concept of what we were doing in homeopathy way before they existed and bastardized it by putting all the crap into it. So you don't get anything pure from them. You get this toxic chemicals and stuff as carriers to get it into your body. And this is my opinion, you guys, and sorry if the soapbox bothers you, but oh, it's just such a sore subject with me. So they're pumping these toxic things into your body when you've got remedies that can cure everything, including cancer. There are these Indian doctors that I've been studying their work for a while. They've been using homeopathics in India, where there's a lot of sickness, for over 150 years. They've been studying, experimenting, getting their protocols down to know exactly what to treat. So there's less guessing, because there's some guessing that goes on with homeopathy. Like I said, a remedy can treat multiple things. So then it's a matter of figuring out which one is the most suited to the situation. They're curing cancer with homeopathy. And the really cool thing, finally, the West is taking notice, and these doctors are being invited to come over here speaking to cancer doctors. So maybe they'll wake up and they'll start using it, because there are cures for cancer right now. We've had them for a long time. We just didn't know about it. Like years ago, when I was struck down with Meniere's disease, I was totally disabled. Would have these severe vertigo attacks that would knock me off my feet for, like 6 hours at a time. And all I could do was lie on the floor and vomit because I couldn't even move my head. I was so sick. If I had known about homeopathy then, a simple little, tiny little pellet pill, and I could have solved my problem. Instead, I had brain surgery. They went in and cut the nerve in my head because they couldn't fix the problem. Medicine doesn't know how to fix it. All they knew how to do was to supposedly stop it. Guess what? That didn't even work. I still had attacks, not as often, but I still had them. And then when I found the remedies, oh my gosh, game changer. I keep it with me all the time. So if an attack starts, I take those little pills, stops it before it ever gets to the point of knocking me off my feet. That's how powerful homeopathy is. And the sad thing is that the government keeps trying to shut it down because they're not making any money off of it. It's super inexpensive. You can buy a little bottle, and by the way, I have them all over the place. So this is one of my little bottles. And this little bottle could last you for years, and it costs $15 to $20. That's why I'm so crazy about homeopathy. So I hope that answers your question. Errol, how do we find out what soul tribe we belong to? That, Errol, I look into your Akashic records and get it for you. That's one of the ways. Or if you learn how to access your own Akashic records, you can do that as well. Truthfully, everybody has the right to access their Akashic records. Just a matter of learning how. So I've taken courses and I've studied for years to learn how to do this. So you can take the time, you can study and learn, or you can find somebody like me to go in and get it for you. So that's something we could do in that little 15-minute reading, if that's all you want to know. Or we could do a soul introduction, which is longer, that includes talking about your gift, your tribe of origination, right, which is your planet, and your soul specialty, along with some other things. So we can do all of that. Those are all options for you. But I encourage people to look into it because everybody needs to know who they are at soul level. It changes your whole perception of who you are. It's just so magnificent. I don't even know how to describe it in words. It's just such a phenomenal experience. And when I share it with people, we all get excited because like, wow, that's who I am. It's just so incredible because you have so much more within you than you have yet discovered. It's all waiting in your records to get it out, use it, and change your life. And in the process, change other people's lives. So it's marvelous. Highly recommended. Chris, you hit send too soon. You were worried about feeling conceited because you felt so good. Okay, it's not conceited if you feel good about being marvelous. Embody it. Allow it. It's okay. That's not conceited. Conceited would be if you were going around saying, I'm better than you because I can do this. And it's not like that. We all have different gifts because every single soul is unique. There's not another in the world like you. So Creator made you in this special, unique way, and you are here to express that in whatever way brings you joy. And a byproduct of that is that you help other people. So if we're all wired differently, that means that you aren't like anybody else. There's no sense comparing yourself, right? It's like, let's get excited because now we can experience all these different variations of souls. And we can teach one another what's something that is a strength for you because it's your gift. Somebody else won't understand, but you can help them to understand it so they can access that minute amount of your gift that they have within themselves, because we all have all 8 of the gifts within us. We just have them at smaller and smaller proportions. We have that one gift that is our primary gift that directs our life. And for some people, they have a primary secondary. So they're juggling 2 gifts. But if you've got all of them, that means you can understand everybody else. So if you're an expert at, let's say, being the independent entrepreneur, somebody else is an expert at being the sensitive organizer, the 2 of you can share and help one another find that small amount in themselves and amplify it. In that way, we're always helping one another. And it's so beautiful. Nothing egotistic about that at all. So I hope you can let that go, Chris, and just embody, enjoy, appreciate your magnificent self. Because when you do that, that's when that love is released. Your heart chakra will expand in incredible ways. All this love will pour out of you. Because I can tell you, I didn't used to be like this. I was very shut down. I was a hermit. I didn't want to get out with people. Too noisy. I was happy to be a hermit and not be around noisy people, doing my researching and all of that. You know, that was great. But after doing this work, it's like, I can't shut up. I have to get out there and share it with people because it's just overflowing. And that's how it feels. It's so marvelous. So do it for yourself because you deserve it. Do it for your creator because that's what you're here for, to expand your consciousness and then share that information back with the collective. I hope that helps, Chris. Think about it. Janet, you've noticed that a lot of psychics have dyslexia. Why do I think that is? I don't know. Let's ask. I haven't noticed that myself, but interesting question. So, is it true that a lot of psychics have dyslexia? Oh, they're saying not any more than the average person. You're just hearing it because you're probably following a lot of them online. So, is there something you can tell us about dyslexia that would help Janet? Anything you want to share about dyslexia? It's related to karma, Janet. So it's a way that that soul chose to live this life. It's like when you get ready to come in, when you do your pre-birth planning, you go through all the stuff that you want to work through. You're like flipping switches on for all the things that you want to incorporate into that life experience. So I'm not thinking of the right word, but the tendency for dyslexia, that's like one of the switches. And it's not just dyslexia. It's like a spectrum. So it's like, okay, I want to have this issue because it's going to help me with those karmic lessons that I need to resolve in this lifetime. So let me know if that makes sense. And Susan, that helped you with the Ukraine thing. I'm so glad. Yeah. Metatron's talked about it quite a bit lately, so it's very important. And yeah, you know, of course, because so many people are upset about it. And it's like, oh, he just wants to put us all in this big warm embrace and say, don't worry about it. It's okay. It's all unraveling, or not unraveling, but, you know, unfolding. It's all unfolding is as part of the greater plan. Everything really will work out. We are on the path. And he actually validated on the April message that what we're feeling, this acceleration into better, is real. It's not our imagination. It's not wishful thinking. It really is starting to happen. And April is going to be lighter. And he used the word cheerier, which I thought that was really cool because that's very hopeful. We all could use some more cheerier. Oh, you're so welcome. Okay. Let's see. It just jumped again. I'm going to pause here and I'm going to insert that other question I told you we were going to talk about because 2 people asked me about it. It's really interesting. Last month on the Metaphysical Chat, one of the things that came from Metatron and the angels was they would like us to step into our authority as a sovereign soul. And instead of praying over and over and over for the same thing, understand that we are the creators of our reality. So when we speak it, it is done. We don't have to ask over and over and over again. And that message caused some confusion for people because they thought, well, but I'm sending every day love and light to the people of Ukraine. Should I stop doing that? Are the angels mad because we're doing that? Because the other thing Metatron said was, you know, you gave it to your angels to take care of. Trust them to take care of it. You don't have to rag on them about it. So, you know, that caused a little consternation for some people. So here's the difference. You can send love and light as often and to whomever you want. They choose whether they accept it. That's a separate issue. The other issue that we were talking about is when you're praying, when you're asking for things, right? So if you have prayed and you have asked for, let's say it's a house that you want to get a property or a house, and that's just, you know, off the top of my head. So you have said what it is you want. This is part of your manifestation, right? You've laid it out there. You've handed it off to your angels. Let them work on it. Don't keep bugging them. And not really bugging because you can't do anything wrong. They're not going to judge you or get mad at you if you ask over and over. The point Metatron was trying to make, and I'm being a little clumsy about saying it here, but the point he was trying to make is that as our vibrational frequency is rising, which it is, we step into more responsibility as a sovereign soul. And that expanding responsibility is partly about understanding we are the creator of our reality. When we speak it, it is done. If we keep speaking it, it means we don't trust that it's done, and that's going to take us backwards. The reason that's important now is because up until recent times, we did have to say it over and over because we weren't at that level yet of trusting and understanding that we're the creators, right? So because of that, it's like the rules were a little sloppier and they weren't as tight. I'm not describing it very well, you guys, I'm sorry. But it's like when your vibrational frequency rises, there's more responsibility. So let's use the analogy of driving a car. When you are driving a car, if you are, you know, steering all over the place like this, it's it's a wasted effort. And okay, here's a better one. When your car is out of alignment, like our soul, that's better. Thank you. When your car is out of alignment, you got to really like overcorrect just to stay straight on the road, right? So that would be equivalent of you as a soul at a lower vibrational frequency. So now you take the car and you get a front end alignment. Now when you drive, it's just teeny tiny little corrections to stay straight on the road. As your vibrational frequency rises, you sovereign soul, the leeway is like getting your front end alignment. So now you make corrections in a smaller space. That means that in your everyday life, if you get out of alignment, You're going to notice things get crappy in a hurry, way faster than they used to. Because remember, when you were at a lower vibrational frequency, you could get further out of alignment and still be okay because you had all this leeway, right? Now you're here. And if you get out of just a little bit out of alignment, you're going to have to notice it quicker because it's going to take, more of a correction. So you're going to feel it faster. That's the responsibility as we move into that higher vibrational frequency. Let me know if that makes sense, you guys, because I know I didn't do an elegant job of explaining that. Stephanie, you're in a huge transition in the middle of all the transitions. Your job is in the crosshairs, or you've been working since 8th grade. You want to retire and learn how to be happy. You suck at happy. Oh God, I'm sorry about that, Stephanie. So being happy comes from getting into alignment with your soul. That comes from being in a place of trusting and allowing that everything really will work out for you. If you're constantly questioning, if you're constantly changing things around, judging yourself, you are denying yourself that happiness. So baby steps will get you there. I want you to start focusing on how can I just change these little teeny tiny things, just little tweaks to make life better. Choosing things that make you happy rather than everybody else before you. Truly, you have to put yourself first in order to make this go for you, right? If you're always putting everybody else first, you're not taking care of you. You get further out of alignment with your soul. Taking care of you first is not selfish, it's selfless. When you do that, you are stronger, you are more empowered, you have more to give to others. Does that make sense? Let me know. So what you want to work on is just step by step, making little choices that serve you, that help you come into a place of alignment and happiness, and know that you can be happy in the middle of a storm if you trust in your creator and your team to take care of you, to help you, knowing that they've got you every step of the way, doing everything they can to help you. And then from there, keep your eyes open for those breadcrumbs. They will be coming. When you see something you think is a breadcrumb, take action on it ASAP. Don't dilly-dally. That will get you moving, gets the energy moving, gets you moving towards more happiness and more alignment with your soul. Try that and let me know how it goes. Susan, your maternal grandparents were from the Ukraine. Feels a little closer and more intense because of that. Oh yeah, absolutely. I think I mentioned I have a friend whose brother is in Ukraine right now, and she's just freaking out about it, trying to find peace, knowing how this should work, but then getting pulled back by the fear. And that's why Metatron was talking about that higher level of responsibility. No matter how scary it feels or how personal it feels, that doesn't matter if you really trust your team to take care of things. And know that if a loved one over there does perish, that it's not because of anything outside of themselves. It's because their soul was ready to go. And this was just a convenient way to do it. They really are okay, because none of us are dying, just our body. Our soul goes on forever, and we don't lose connection unless we choose to. And I know you know that, Susan. So yeah, just try to, as much as possible, again, baby steps. When you feel the fear rising, just stop, relax, breathe, and allow that peace to come down and blanket you and wrap you up in a warm hug to fill your heart and your soul, so that you don't get off into that place of fear and panic, because that doesn't help anybody. And all it really does is expands it. I heard Linda G talk about this the other day. Don't focus on the negative stuff, because that just brings more of it to you. So you can see it, you can acknowledge it, it's there, but don't energetically engage with it. Let it go. No, it's not for you. You've chosen a different and better path. I hope that makes sense. Stephanie, you're asking Zoom. If you caught the end of a conversation, probably we were talking about the third Saturday of the month when I do a Zoom call for my VIPs, and all you have to do is sign up on my list to be a VIP. I'll send you the Zoom link, and on that call, we do personal questions. This one is just metaphysical. So the link is in there somewhere. If you scroll through, you'll find it, or maybe somebody can grab it and paste it in there for you. But it's akashaunleashed.com/VIP. That's all you have to do. And that's every month, 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Saturday, the third Saturday. Oh, Kathy, you signed up for VIP. Great. I look forward to seeing your face. That'll be a treat. Rachel, what is the origin of being judgmental, and do we have suggestions? Yeah, well, that's all about ego, is where it comes from, because, you know, we have these fragile little egos. That's how we started out. And some of us have very fragile egos and others have bigger ones. But, you know, even the people who seem like they're really conceited, they just got ego problems. They feel like everybody else is better than them. So what they do is they take on this persona and they pretend, because that makes them in their fantasy feel like they're superior, and we're all equal. There is no reason for any of that stuff. So it all comes back to self-esteem. But when you understand who you are as a divine child of your creator, you can let that go. And another thing you can do, I have this meditation that's a powwow with the three aspects of self. That is ego, higher self, and soul, where you sit down, you have a conversation, and you bring yourself into oneness. There's no more separation as we move forward. We're coming into oneness. And that means ego is going to calm the heck down and stop with that nonsense, get on board as a team, moving us forward into this ascension journey. So if you want that, I'll put it in the comments afterwards. I'll give you a link for it so that you can all access it, because it's out there. I know I've shared it before, but some people might not have seen it. Harry's mom, you've been communicating with a captain from World War I and II who's helping the Ukrainians along with others and the angels. Oh, I love that. So beautiful. You ask him why the war in Ukraine, and he told you it was to unite people. Yeah, absolutely. That's what Metatron has said as well. And it's really cool because we're hearing that from multiple sources. You know, as I've listened to other people's forecasts or, you know, their conversations that they're sharing with the world, there's that theme going on. This is part of the plan. It's helping to bring us together, which is so beautiful and so hopeful, because we are, you know, 45 stirred up a lot of hate, a lot of darkness. But the thing is, his soul agreed to come in here and be the pot stirrer. He came in and just really whipped it all up in a frenzy, gave that darkness permission to come out from under the rocks so that it could be exposed to the light and transmuted. It's a long process, but that's what we're seeing. So we're right on the plan. It's just the sticky part right now, but we will be moving out of it sooner. That's what I'm feeling from what Metatron said for the April message. So anybody on here who was confused about that whole thing about, you know, sending the love and the light that we just talked about a minute ago, if you're still confused, let me know if I need to explain that more. We just flipped again here. Hang on. Jennifer, what will happen to the souls in the veil when Earth ascends? Well, the souls in the veil are just in the fifth dimension, so they'll stay there until they're ready to incarnate again. So our ascension here on Earth doesn't affect them if they're not here on Earth. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Two separate things. What will happen though, because we're going to hop up to fourth dimension and Earth will too, that I'm expecting there will be less of a veil between the fourth and fifth dimension. There will be more communication, more connection, more remembering, because, you know, so many of the souls that are incarnating now are coming in a very awoke state. And I don't mean that in a political way, but they're coming with more memories of who they are as a soul, which is changing the entire game here and their life experience. So they're going to bring more of that sensibility of equality, love, as we all work together to make this world a really wonderful, loving place, Earthtopia. So let me know if that answered your question. Hi, Callista, great to see you. You thought it was later? Oh, well, I'm so glad you listened to your intuition and joined us. Yeah, this one is always 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, or standard, whichever we happen to be in at the time. Susan, thank you for all you do for the collective. You love the meditations. Oh, you're so welcome. I love it when you guys use the meditations because they were divine downloads. So the more the merrier. Everybody needs to take these precious experiences that either it's Metatron, creator himself, herself, or angels have shared with me. It's just a divine, from the collective download, and it's intended for anybody, everybody to use. It's just so healing and so helpful. They're just marvels to me. I'm gobsmacked constantly when these things come through. And there's quite a collection of them right now. I've got a whole playlist of meditations, and there will be more coming. So it's just, those are tools that we can use for whatever we're going through. And that's what they're for. So freely use them and share them. Callista, does Metatron have any advice for handling grief? Your senior cat is not doing well, and you're struggling to know what to do. Does he have any suggestions? Yeah, there's actually a meditation on my website. This one's not on YouTube. It's called Grief Relief. So go to my website, grab that meditation. It takes you through this whole process of connecting with loved ones who are departed. You can do that with your cat even before, did you say he or she? Even before they transition. You can connect with them in that meditation. Instead of bringing a departed one, just bring the cat. Have a connection, have a conversation. You will feel it. And that might give you more peace when it comes time, if it does come, that you have to make a choice rather than the cat themselves. So the whole thing about grief is that it's a waste of time because they're not gone. Their soul didn't die. Their soul still exists. And again, it's on the other side of a threshold. We talked about that earlier. You missed that part. Whole conversation earlier that you probably want to go back and listen to about them just being on the other side of the threshold. So close you can touch them. And here's the cool thing. When you do the meditation, you are coming together in the Akashic records. You can touch them. You can hold them. You can speak to them. They can speak to you. You can do whatever you need to do to find peace and healing. And then knowing that they're, just a thought away on the other side, you can do it whenever you need to. And when you know that, and you have that confidence and that trust that this connection is always available to you, the grief just kind of slips away. It's not necessary because they're not gone. It's when we think that they're gone, that's when we feel so bad. So this meditation was really cool. It actually came from a conversation I had with Freud in my Akashic records, because I went in and asked about grief and what can I share with people about processing grief. So I'm going to have to get that story written for you because there's a whole lot more to it that was really quite fascinating. But at the end of that conversation with Freud, then I got this meditation. And I was later wondering, why Freud? What was that about? Well, it turns out Freud lost his daughter when she was only in her 30s. He never got over it. He spent the rest of his life grieving for her. So from his perspective now on the other side, he wanted to share with us, a waste. She was never gone. Look what I could have done with my life if I'd let go of all that grief. So let's do that. Let's start moving into letting go of the grief, celebrating that person's life, because they're not grieving. They're having a ball in the fifth dimension, working on their soul, connecting with people that they've lost in the past. And there's just no reason to grieve. But it is a whole shift in our thought process that we can achieve. It just takes a little bit of determination and practice. So that is there for you. You don't have to get caught up in the grief. And when you do, that's actually kind of a negative thing for that being or person on the other side, right? Because they're not grieving. And when you go into grief, that draws them towards you, which is great. You've drawn them towards you, but it's in that kind of a negative energy of grief because there's nothing to feel bad about. It's a celebration. They're doing great. It's just that you miss them. You don't have to miss them if you allow yourself the experience of connecting with them. So that's a really long-winded response. Callista, let me know if that helps. You needed the love and light tonight. I'm so glad. That was Callista. Susan, astrology mainly deals with this solar system, at least for now. Oh, thanks for that clarification. That really helps. Yeah, cool. Angelita, about 2 weeks ago, 4:30 a.m., you were in a light sleep and you heard in your right ear, hello. You felt it was an angel or a guide. And what is the message for you? That goes into the personal stuff, Angelita, which we're not doing tonight. But what I can tell you is if you felt that, trust that it was real and it was an opening, an invitation for more of a conversation. Now, if you're having trouble doing that on your own, then grab my book if you haven't already, The Path to Hearing Angels and Guides. It's a 21-day meditation challenge that Metatron created for that exact reason, to help you learn to have a two-way dialogue so that you can just ask your angels. You won't have to ask anybody else. What is it you're trying to tell me? When you go through that process, if you choose, you can join us in the support group to share your experiences, to read other people's experiences, and to get through it more empowered, connecting faster, because the truth is everybody can channel. And I talked about that in the message the other day. It's within all of us, that ability is there. We've just forgotten how. And all it takes is practice, confidence that you really can do it. There are people in this group that are channeling the most phenomenal things that when they started, they said, I can't talk to my angels. I can never hear them. Yeah, they really could. They just didn't know what it sounded like. So once they understand how it can be, that they really have always been hearing it or seeing or feeling or whatever senses are working for them. It's just tuning in and recognizing them. And that's a big part of what we do in this challenge. So I encourage you to check that out. It's on Amazon. You can get that. Callista, your soul identity reading was amazing, worth the time and money. Oh, I'm so glad. It was a ball sharing that with you, Callista. And I can't wait to do more. Susan, thank you for explaining about homeopathy and experience. You've been signing petitions to save homeopathy. Great. Yeah, we need to, because the FDA has been trying for years to shut it down. And they've come really close a couple of times. Just this week, I learned that Dick Durbin, who I thought was a good guy, turns out he's been working to shut down natural remedies, which includes homeopathy. It's like, screw you, Durbin, take it and hit the road. What is the matter with you? Well, we know what's the matter, right? Big money. So he must be in the pocket of big pharma. Otherwise, why would he be doing that? And that's the scary thing, that so many of our politicians who maybe are on the right side of some things, for whatever reason, and well, I shouldn't say whatever reason, it's money, right? It's all about their pockets. And they would deny us this curative modality. And you know, the royals use homeopathy. They've used it forever. They used it during the COVID when they got sick because it works. It's that simple. Warrior Girl, you're sorry about your question. It was supposed to say, if the sun and the moon are not planets, why are they included in the astrological zodiac? I don't know. I think they are planets. I'm not sure where it's coming from that they're not planets. So maybe you can clarify what that really means, because I'm not sure. And Warrior Girl continues, it was a great response. Your son called, so you rewinded to hear it. Rewound. Cool. Awesome. Glad you got it. And you can always go back afterwards. It'll be there for you shortly. Janet, a lot of Native women are disappearing in Alaska. Why is this happening? Is it woo involved or ETs? Oh, that's a great question. So what's going on with the Native women in Alaska who are disappearing? It's trafficking, Janet. It's trafficking. Sad to say that. Because they're vulnerable, you know, they're in a more sparsely populated place. People can get away with more things and maybe they're not noticed. Just like there are a lot of Native women disappearing from the South Dakota area. And I think Oklahoma as well, wherever there's a large population of Native women, because, you know, the tradition here in this country is people don't take them as seriously. If they report missing women, just like Black women or even Hispanic, they get reported to the police. They don't get taken as seriously. You know, they like to write them off as, oh, maybe they just ran off with a man, or, you know, they're playing games, or whatever story that they make up. But yeah, it's a travesty. It's been going on for a really long time. So let's ask, is it highly likely that this trafficking thing will get cleared up soon? Ugh. Okay, so that answer is, that's going to be part and parcel of our ascension into Earthtopia. Of course, it won't be there, but until then, it's going to slowly dwindle, but it's still going to be there as long as those dark and corrupt people are there, because they need people to victimize. That's how they're making their money, some of them. And for others, it's just getting their jollies. That's how they feel powerful, to victimize other people. So that will be going away. Those people will not be going with us to Earthtopia. They will either stay behind or die. I don't know what's going to happen to them. And really, that's not any of our business. They just will not be there because they will not energetically be a match. So it's not like we're keeping them out. It's just part of the plan. You've got to be an energetic match to be a part of Earthtopia, to rise into fourth dimension. Chris, you answered my question a couple of times, answering other people's questions. Cool. You're a work in progress. Yeah, we all are. Absolutely. Because as Creator says, you're perfect today. Tomorrow, you're going to be more perfect because the journey is about reaching for ever higher consciousness. There's so much more to learn. We've only scratched the surface. So yeah, you are magnificent. You are marvelous. Accept it. Warrior Girl, you've wondered if autistic babies are telepathic. It's a gut feeling based on some interactions. Oops, it jumped. Oh, come back, come back. Come on, that was a good question. Just a gut feeling based on interactions. You felt like they could, just like pets can. So let's ask about that. In general, are autistic babies telepathic? Yeah, they're certainly more tuned in. And the ones being born now are also being born more aware. And, you know, when we think about them being limited, being autistic, I don't know that that's true. I think they're wired differently. And it's a matter of them tuning into the way they're wired and using it to be empowered instead of us putting our expectations of what normal is on them. That's been a big problem for a really long time. But there's certainly more, they're more sensitive. And if we can help them tap into whatever their gift is, which is why this soul introduction is so important, you guys. Think if we knew this as babies, as children, if our parents knew, and they could guide us, knowing how we are wired to be the most powerful in this world, what a difference that would make. So for an autistic child, whatever their issues are, if they could be led to understand how they can function in that more empowered way, we might lose that label, autistic, altogether, because it's not that there's anything wrong with them specifically. They're wired differently. And we are coming to a time when more people will understand that. I think we're starting to see it already. You know, there have been instances where we've heard stories about people who have pulled their child out of autism. There's also stories about, you know, damage done to their bodies by toxins. So there's some of that. There's some healing to do. So it's a little bit of both, probably. And we probably shouldn't go there because we don't want to get shut down for talking about that kind of stuff. Probably push the limits a little bit already tonight. Linda says, hello, you have dyslexia? You didn't figure it out until you were out of school. It's funny, you know, a lot of people say that, which means, is it really so bad? Maybe it's an opportunity for you to look at the world in a different way than other people. And if you knew that about yourself and it was like, wow, this is a gift. This means I can see things. I can bring a different perspective to the world. Because think about that, the famous autistic woman, and her name is escaping me at the moment, the one who works with animals and she's written books. What she has brought to us in our understanding of animals is phenomenal. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. She's just had to learn to adapt and live differently from the quote regular folks. So what's wrong with that? She's at the same time brought this amazing gift to the world. So yeah, I think we just are going to have to adjust our perceptions of what's good and what's bad or normal and not normal. Just let all that go and understand that whoever we are right now is perfect. And we're just going to keep getting more perfect. That will help a lot if we can let go of those labels and stop judging. Susan says the sun and the moon are not the sun and the moon are not planets, but they're included in astrology because they're important in the chart. They're called luminaries. Interesting. So if I'm getting what you're saying right, then that would be like they're almost like axis points on either end. Maybe, I don't know. Whatever it is, they're important and Creator put them for a reason. Callista, it totally makes sense. You've moved from a large trailer to a small yard trailer, but you're still parking in the same spot. Interesting. Yeah, that's a cool analogy. Absolutely. I don't know if you meant that literally, but it's a great analogy. Linda, you don't know about your gifts or your abilities yet. You just entered the chat when you heard the question. Cool. So Linda, if you go back and listen to the beginning, you'll get that information because we talked about that quite a bit throughout. Susan says, thank you for the explanation about the car and alignment that helped to illustrate. Awesome. Because you were one of the ones that was confused. So hopefully that takes care of the confusion. And we will be getting more about this, Susan, because Metatron keeps bringing it up, and he keeps bringing it up because there's still people who need to hear it or need clarity. And, for some of these messages, you will hear them repeated over and over from me. You'll hear them from people like Amanda Ellis and Mel, I forget her last name. There's a number of people out there. You'll hear them from some of the other readers because we're all getting the same information. We're just getting it in slightly different ways, but the undercurrent message is the same. And we're just all needing to rise up to be more responsibility as a sovereign soul. And that's what it's going to take as we all move together to get to Earthtopia. So that's part of our ascension process. That's part of why our bodies are feeling some of these weird symptoms that are happening, because our body has to shift. They're recalibrating our DNA. That was not a joke. That was real. And having your DNA recalibrated is a process. So yeah, all sorts of interesting things are happening as a result, and it is accelerating. Stephanie, little steps make sense for you. You're a teacher and you're used to that. Awesome. You are golden, Stephanie. Just keep going for it. And, when you get in that place where you're feeling a little down or, being hard on yourself, remember what you would say to one of your students when they were going through the same thing, and then give yourself that advice. Take that advice because you understand. And it's so interesting. I run into so many teachers and coaches, myself included, who will find ourselves giving advice or guidance to somebody else. And then it's like in your head, you're thinking, oh, maybe I should do that too. Because we know, but we don't always do what we know. And sometimes we have to hear it over and over and over again before it sinks in and we take action. But that action part, you guys, that is super important. When you get that feeling about something you need to do, go do it as soon as possible, because that'll get you unstuck. It'll get you moving forward faster. It'll feel so much better. When you're stuck, life is like it's throwing sparks at you. It's uncomfortable. It's like you're being stretched. Body is here and soul is here, and they're kind of stretching with this like rubber band kind of thing. And when you catch up with your soul and you come into alignment, it's like they snap together. And then finally life flows again, easier, with less stress. So that's what we're working on, is staying in that alignment all together as one more often. And we're never going to get it perfect, right? Because we'd be done. And we never get this done. This is eternal. We're going to keep growing and ascending forever. Breadcrumbs is something you're good at. Awesome, Stephanie. Keep looking for them, because the more you see them and take action, the more you will see. Your angels are sending them like crazy to get your attention. Once you start taking that action, you will notice more of them sooner so that you can take action even sooner. And again, that's part of the acceleration. So it's just getting to that place of opening your eyes and your awareness so that you know to look for them. And then life will get a lot easier. As Metatron is always saying, it's about focus and flow and ease, and balance. Balance is important too. KTC, anyone else here come from a denominational church and have an awakening? You're realizing the toxicity that was involved there. Sometimes it feels hard moving on and feeling judgment from your family. Yeah, it does. Yeah, I came from a Christian background. There was a time where I didn't believe in reincarnation. I said to people, why did Jesus have to die to save our souls if we were going to reincarnate? Doesn't that kind of negate it? But then, of course, I realized, there's a lot of falsehoods in the Bible and a lot of manipulation and things like telling us that we're unworthy sinners. There's a lot of lies we've been taught, and it's all about control. There might be some religious institutions out there that are kind of decent, but most of them were formed around controlling people. That's why New Age spirituality is coming in and kind of elbowing them out, because it feels better. It's allowing us to be that sovereign soul that we came here to be, without all the restrictions and all the judgment. So the best thing I can share with you is that from my own experience, you just don't talk about it with them unless they want to talk about it. Let them be who they are. When they're ready, they might start asking you questions. They might not ever get ready. Like I mentioned in the Facebook group, my husband is an atheist. And you can imagine having all of this stuff come into our lives, because we've been married a long time when I started doing this work and had my awakening. It seemed pretty off the wall to him. And, he would just shake his head and step back and laugh. And that's okay. He didn't have to believe it. That wasn't important. We're together. We don't have to believe the same things. But over time, as he's witnessed some of the things coming to pass that I have channeled, he's like, oh, maybe there is something to this. So seeing is believing, right? So over time, just let them come along at their own pace. Don't worry about it. And that way you can still connect with them. You don't have to let them go unless you really want to. But it takes a little finessing and confidence on your part, standing your ground for who you are, going forward with your beliefs and expanding, because you don't want to hold your soul back just because they're choosing to hold back. You go forth and you expand your beautiful soul. Let that happen. Let it evolve. Enjoy the heck out of it. And then just deal with them a little bit at a time. But don't let yourself get dragged down in arguing with people about it, because they're just trying to put you down and change your mind. And that's not what it's about. It's like, we're in a live and let live kind of place right now. When they're ready, they'll move forward. Until then, don't let them stop you. So I hope that makes you feel better. Yay, Beverly, glad you made it. Awesome. Oh, Rachel, you're looking forward to the link. Yeah. Oh, you mean the powwow with the 3 selves link? Yes, I made a note of that. I will share that. And if I've forgotten something, just let me know and I'll get it for you. So Warrior Girl, you're talking to KTC, asking if she believes in angels. You're saying you found it easier to deal with them by keeping the conversation only about angels. Oh, I guess in regards to the religious people. Yeah. Well, a lot of them say they believe in angels, but they don't believe in angels in the expansive way that we do. They limit their angels. And in fact, many of them believe that we serve the angels, which is backwards. We were given the angels, or we were given to the angels for them to help us. So they're serving us. We're asking them for help. So whatever we need, they are there to serve us. And when we get that, it's like, whoa, that's a whole other level of understanding our empowerment, isn't it? But that's what they're for. And that's their joy and delight. That is their purpose. So if you're not asking your angels for help, they're sitting around twiddling their thumbs, bored out of their minds, waiting for you to come into your alignment and start asking for help. So that's why they say over and over, keep asking us. Nothing is too small. Ask us. Stephanie, you found the meditations. Awesome. Great. Yeah, just work your way through them. There's so much wonderful material there. Callista, you will do the grief relief. Great. Let me know if that helps, or if you need, more information about it. You can also use the meditation on my website called Connecting with Guides. It's a very similar process. It's just a more updated version. Susan, it's okay to repeatedly thank the angels in our team, isn't it? Do they appreciate that? Yes. Gratitude. Remember, gratitude is a really important component in what we're doing as these evolving souls. So when you are in the energy of gratitude, that expands the love, the gratitude. It expands you as a soul. You're putting more of that powerful energy out into the world that is helping other people to shift. Because remember, when they feel that energy, they can't stay the same. They will either evolve a little bit themselves or they'll leave. So yeah, and gratitude is like putting jet fuel into your manifestations. So when you stay in that wonderful energy of gratitude, you're staying away from all that negativity and that darkness, right? So anytime you start to feel yourself being pulled down into those dark feelings, the negativity, the judgment, just find something to be grateful for, and then work your way up the scale, more and more things to be grateful for. I start out many days just grateful that I have fresh air to breathe, because, in this time of what we've been going through, just being able to breathe freely is a blessing. So there's so much we can find to be grateful for. Yeah, do that a lot, as much as it feels good to do it, but absolutely can't do too much gratitude. Warrior Girl, you send love because they're the lost sheep of the organized religion / crime. They go hand in hand. Yeah. Yeah. And again, as I was just saying, sending them love, you can do that as much as you want. Can't do too much of that. And they will either accept it and shift, or they'll put up a barricade and say, no, thanks. And that's okay. You're just freely sending it. It's a gift. We don't have to accept a gift unless we want to. So that's up to them. But you're doing it as good karma for you, and it will feel good. Also keeps you in that lovely aligned energy. Yeah, literally the lost sheep that Jesus was trying to save. Yeah, absolutely. And whoever else you believe in, if you don't believe in Jesus. So yeah, it's that same love energy from Creator, from the whole team. Callista says, poor Freud, I'll take his words to heart. Yeah. Well, we don't have to feel pity for him. That was many lifetimes. Well, I guess not many lifetimes. That was his last lifetime. When I talked to him, he hadn't reincarnated yet. He's taking a while to heal and learn and expand, and probably doing his own experiments and research before he dives into another lifetime. Or, for some souls, it just occurred to me, they could be waiting to incarnate until we shift into Earthtopia, because some of them just don't want to be here during this transitory time, which we've talked about before. That's why a lot of them are choosing to leave right now, whether it's through the war, it's through, just whatever normal ways that they would depart, or it's through the virus. They're finding ways to leave when they're ready, because they don't want to be part of this whole transformation to fourth dimension. It's just not something they want to do. And that's okay too. No judgment about that. Angelita, you're saying Amazon delivers out in the desert. Awesome. Yeah. You can also get the ebook. You don't have to get the paperback. There's ebooks. And all three of my books are on Kindle Unlimited. So if you have a subscription to Kindle Unlimited, you can just access the ebooks right away. Stephanie, you're excited to explore. Yeah, me too. Dive into it, because it's so delicious. Most of it was channeled, and it's really wonderful, uplifting, encouraging information that we need right now. And the more people who learn it and embody it, the faster we're going to get to Earthtopia. Callista, the judgment is only there if you decide to pick it up and carry it around. Easier said than done, but you can choose not to let it stick. You have done it, and you're sending love. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and the other thing about that, Callista, sometimes we think there's judgment coming at us from other people, but the truth is, unless they say it, we don't know what they're thinking. So here's an opportunity to step up as a sovereign soul. You're creating your reality. So when you feel judgment from somebody and you're making up a story in your head about what you think they're thinking, you can flip the script on that, and you can make it a positive story. You can put into your version of your reality, that person is looking at me and they are astonished at my spiritual growth, or whatever, you want to say that feels good. And again, it's not in an egotistical way. It's just you're putting positive stuff in there rather than negative stuff. You don't need to let that reel go on in your head of negative things that you believe somebody else is thinking or feeling about you, because that's kind of self-sabotage. So be the boss of your thoughts, make them good ones. Rewrite the story of the negative things into something positive. you are the author of your story, so that can be true. You can go back and edit it if you need to. But going forward, certainly make it positive stuff, because that's going to empower you. That's a really wonderful technique you can use. Now, of course, when you first start doing it, it's a little hard. You go through this struggle of letting the negative stuff in and then kicking it back out again. And remember, when the negative stuff comes, just like you would do on your electronic device, swipe the screen, send the negative away, bring in a positive thought to replace it. The more you do that, the less often those things will occur, and the easier life will get, the more you'll be in the flow. Janet, what can we do to help the Native women? We can send them love. That's the first thing we can do. If you come across organizations that are helping them and you feel led, you could help them. But there's really nothing you need to do personally. It's not like you're going to leave your spiritual path and go and start rescuing Native women, unless that's part of your spiritual path, which it could be. But all of the things that are wrong in the world, we can't fix. It's like I'm reminded in one of the videos recently, the song from Jesus Christ Superstar came up, Everything's All Right. That's the song that Mary is singing to Jesus before he ends up getting executed. So it's a reminder. And in some of the lyrics, Jesus sings that, we do what we can, but we can't save everybody. And the specific lyrics are, you can't save the poor from their lot. There's always going to be poor people. Likewise, there are always going to be people victimized. So remember, it's part of their karma, or they wouldn't be there. They incarnated into that tribe because they wanted to work out some old karma. They wanted to probably help the people move forward out of the victimization, any number of reasons, but they chose that situation. They wanted to step out of victimization to be empowered. So we shouldn't feel pity for them. We can feel compassion. That's a whole different thing. And wherever you feel led to help, do that. But don't let that take you off your path. I hope that makes sense. It's not about being cold and callous or turning our backs on people who need help, because we do help when and where we can. We can always send love and light to anybody, anytime. So there's always that available to you. And that's very empowering. They will feel that support. It will make a difference. You could, of course, donate to organizations, but we have to be careful about that, because so many of those organizations are robbing you. They're not helping the people, or only a small fraction of the money is going to the actual people. So just be wise about that if you do decide to donate to organizations. Callista, you've always thought the energies in Arizona are powerful, and maybe it's true of all deserts. Let's ask that question. That's a really interesting question. So the very powerful metaphysical energy present in Arizona, or parts of Arizona, is that active in all deserts? Is that a desert thing? No, it's not just a desert thing. There are spots like that all over the world, but it's not specifically deserts. You will find them in other places. In fact, here in the Poconos, we have an energy vortex. So that's fascinating. I was surprised to find so much metaphysical activity here, because there's a lot of very conservative and quote redneck people here. So I was astonished, because there's all this stuff going on, and there are people who are doing, like Druid ceremonies and, Celtic ceremonies and all kinds of stuff, and witchcraft. Anything metaphysical you can think of, it's probably going on. And it was like, what is that about? And then I learned there's a big energy vortex here that has drawn people to this area, which is fascinating, because when we got this property, I felt there was something really special about it. And we have all these amazing rock formations here. Some of them look to me like fairy rings, so I'm choosing to believe that that's what they are. It's got a really wonderful energy, part of which is because a section of our property is pretty much untouched. It's like it's been since creation. There's not been any human activity there, other than maybe crossing or hunting on it. There's been no development. So that land is probably imbued with a lot of really wonderful deities or devas or, all those kind of things, those metaphysical things that are there, which I haven't had time to explore yet, but it's there, it's waiting. So all kinds of things like that are all around us. It's just a matter of tapping in, being aware that they're there, and then deciding what you want to do about it. So that was a whole tangent, wasn't it? Jennifer, you answered my question. You have another. You do soul introductions for children. Do you do karmic release for children? I could, but I wouldn't recommend it, Jennifer. Children are not at a place until at least 16, I wouldn't think, to be ready to understand the karmic release. Part of that process is we go and we find the story. We find the lifetime. We find the events that happened, what it was they did or that was done to them that caused this trauma, this karma that they're experiencing in their present life. So they wouldn't have even probably had a chance to understand that it was showing up in their present life yet. That's something you really want to do when you're an adult. And I would think probably at least 21 or older. So there might be exceptions, of course, if somebody's going through a really difficult time. Like I had this young woman come to me who had been raped. So we did go into her past lives and we found a past life where a very similar situation had occurred. So there was that karmic connection. This time she was in a more empowered lifetime. So she was able to come through that more intact, because the first time, or at least the time we found that it happened, she ended up killing herself because there was nothing left for her after this happened. She was shunned, had nobody, and her life was over, even though she was a teenager. So having that story, understanding that happened, seeing that energy connection between the two, and then doing a clearing process allowed her to step out of that. So that was an exception to somebody young who was able to get that and benefit from it. But by and large, unless there's something really going on in the life, it's let the karma go until later. But the soul introduction, because that's separate from karma, the soul introduction you can do pretty much at any age. I mean, you want to wait until they're maybe a couple years old. It's not going to benefit you a lot before they start developing a personality. But once they do, it's really helpful as a parent to know what are the challenges of their gift, what are the strengths of their gift, so that you can help them to develop it. Because like some of the gifts are involved with speaking too much or speaking really uncomfortable truths. And these kids get shut down early in life. So then what happens, it's their gift. They've got to express it, but they've been repressing it all of their childhood. So now they're adults and they have to go through this period of time where they struggle to learn to reconnect with that and start using their gift again. Imagine if they didn't have to go through that, how much more they could accomplish from a soul perspective. So that's why I think it's really important for children to understand about their gifts, or rather their parents to understand. Temple Grandin, yes, thank you. That's the autistic lady I was thinking of. Yeah, she's brought so much amazement to our world. So just imagine if she weren't autistic, we would not have gotten that. So that's part of her soul journey. Just a beautiful thing. Callista says, Janet, push to get the federal registrar for missing Native women up and running. You believe it's only a few states, so lobby your representative governor. Thank you, Callista. That's beautiful. Yeah, that's something we can do. We can sign petitions. We can let our elected representatives know that we would like them to do something about that. KT says it's helped tremendously. I'm so glad. That's what we are here for. I am so glad. And that's why I keep saying bring more people, because the more we get the word out to people, the faster we can shift and change this world for all of our benefit. So, this is here freely available to you guys. So use it, share it, make the most of it. So we will all want to arise, ascend together. Oh, you like the story about my husband? Yeah, I'm glad. It's really interesting, isn't it? Because the funny thing is, when I was single, I had a list of what I wanted in my ideal guy. And that was somebody who could dance and somebody who was a Christian and a couple of other things. And I got this guy who's an atheist, who has 2 left feet. Go figure. And Getty is perfect for me because Creator chose him for me. I didn't choose him. And that's a whole other story. But yeah. And so it's been perfect. It's a really good partnership that we have. It is a partnership, which is really lovely. And that was before I was awakened that I was put together with him. So that was really interesting. Jennifer, your husband helps souls in the veil go to the light. What is Metatron's general opinion on this? Is it helpful? Not necessary? Does it impact the earth or humanity to have fewer souls in the veil? There are actually some souls whose specialty, their sole specialty, is helping souls to transition. So apparently it's a good thing. Yeah, there are some that's how they're wired to actually do that for people. So yeah, there are some souls who need help, and if they choose to perform that service for them, they can. However, it's important to know, even if that were part of how your soul is wired, you are not obligated. You get to choose. Like I knew this guy who that was his soul specialty, and he was just so open, and all of these spirits were just glomming onto him like energy vampires sucking him dry. He told me that one time he drove past Gettysburg and it nearly killed him because so many spirits came glomming on, asking for help. So when we talked about it, and he understood now that it was his choice, he could put up boundaries, safety boundaries, because your gift should never victimize you. You have the right to put up boundaries. You choose who you help. All of those souls have the ability to cross over anytime they want. They're choosing not to. Sure, if they're ready and somebody offers help, they can take it. But they actually could do it anytime they wanted. So there's no obligation on our part to help them. But if it's something that you feel led to, again, absolutely do it. Just make sure you take care of your own energy and don't let them suck you dry, because that is not the purpose of that gift. Yay, Susan got her power back. Awesome. And I am grateful for you. You bring so much beautiful energy to this assemblage. So delighted that our paths crossed. Susan, the other Susan, you're grateful for Metatron and for me and the angels and the personal teams. Yeah. Isn't it amazing? You think about it. We little individuals here, that we have all that power, that we were given these tremendous gifts. It's like, it's so phenomenal. And that's why it's so important that we tap into it and start using it sooner. Otherwise, it's just wasted. And we're not making the best use of a perfectly good lifetime, right? You know, we do that. We've had lifetimes where we've gone through and not made very much progress. But then when we get to the other side, it's like, oh, darn it. I had those things I wanted to do in that lifetime and it just didn't happen. So the next time I'm going to get it. And we've done that a lot of times too. So right now, because we are in this stage of awakening and understanding, it's incumbent upon us, for ourselves, to do as much as we can to ascend, to raise that vibrational frequency as high as we can get it. And that will help us in the next lifetime, because we'll start at a higher level. We'll hit the ground running. So it's all building blocks, isn't it? It's all building one lifetime upon another. Oh, you like Kindle Unlimited? Awesome. Yeah, go do it, Callista. All 3 of the books are there. And hopefully soon there'll be more. I've got more to come. Linda, you try to remember that there's no judgment, just pure love from the other side when you're struggling with yourself. Yeah. And beyond that, Linda, when you can look at the other humans and the creatures on this planet and realize that they are all divine creations, all perfect just as you are, and not judge them, that brings out all that love for one another. It changes the whole dynamic of the planet, which is what we're working on. So we're just going to keep shouting it from the rooftops until everybody gets the message and gets on board. That's where we're going with this thing. Stephanie says, let's shift. It's so past time. Yeah, really. Although on the other hand, Stephanie, it's all in divine timing. It will all work out as it's intended to. You know, it's not like we're puppets, but there are certain fixed points in time when things are going to occur that will be catalysts for what comes after. So like the war, it's the timing of it is because we were at the point, a pivot point where we were ready to really move things forward so that we could go up. It's like a roller coaster, slowly, slowly cranking up that big steep hill, right? To get to the fourth dimensional shift. So here we are cranking very slowly and kind of painfully up that hill until we get to the crest. And then we're going to zoom and flow into fourth dimension. So we're just waiting to hit that pinnacle. And Susan, you're giving props to the meditation group. Thank you. Yeah, it is awesome, but it's awesome because of you who participate, because I'm not in there very often anymore, you guys. I'm trying to get more stuff out there for you. So this beautiful group is there of these gorgeous, wonderful souls who have already been through the 21-day meditation challenge, some of them multiple times at this point, and they are still there sharing the love, continuing the practice, because the more you do it, the higher you will ascend, the easier it gets. I'm just gobsmacked by some of the channeling that's happening for people in this group, where, you know, they once didn't think they could hear their angels at all, and now they're having these amazing conversations. One of them posted the other day about levitating with Sananda, and it's like, oh wow, that is so phenomenal. I'm just so happy for everybody to experience that, because it's like my experience at my birthday with dancing with Jesus. Can you imagine doing the waltz with Jesus? How amazing that felt. Oh wow, there aren't words for it. So that's available to us. We can have that. And then all these little things about life that are not so fun are a lot easier because you have that contrast, right? We are so blessed. Angelita says, thank you. And thank you for the beautiful community. KTC, she's happy to know that you're close in Arizona. That's awesome. Yeah. Stephanie says it's picked you up. I'm so glad. Yeah, that's why we do this, Stephanie. We want to keep that energy high. It's a high vibe event. It's just having fun, soaking it all up. So I hope you'll join us on that third Saturday, because that's a whole different energy as we can see each other and share. Patience is your challenge. Yeah, well, if it's your challenge, you'll get more things to be patient about. But Metatron helps a lot with that. And the meditation challenge helps a lot with that as well, because you're going through it day by day. And some days you'll be there, you'll show up and you'll get nothing. And you're like, okay, I'm here. What's going on? So when that happened to me, because I write about that in the book, it's like your job, your responsibility, not job, is to just show up. You make the commitment, you show up and be in that energetic space. Some days you won't get anything, and that's okay, because it's coming forward, building that habit, building that practice, that ritual that will lead you through. So if you got, you know, bluebirds and ribbons every single day, you wouldn't get as much out of the experience. So it's ups and downs, just like life. Some days you show up and it's just being in that energy. So just allow that to be. Just float in that energy and soak it up. Soak up the love, soak up the inspiration, and just flow. Because some days you need to do that. It's important. Rachel, this was an awesome meeting. Yeah, I think so too. You guys have just, I'm so high right now, I could float right out of the room. Stephanie, 21 day. Yeah, the book is called The Path to Hearing Angels and Guides, 21 Days of Meditation. You'll find it on Amazon. And if you can't find it, just send me an email. I'll get you the link. But it's there. Or you can find on my channel, there are videos that talk about the book. In fact, listen to the April energy forecast from Metatron, because I linked it in that one and talked about it there. Metatron connected the dots for why it's so important right now. So that would be a good video to listen to next. Warrior Girl says, have a blessed, safe week, everyone. Thanks, you too. Thanks for being here. Callista says, good to see you. Stephanie, you'll be there. Awesome. 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 Okay, you guys, I can go until 9 o'clock if you've got any more questions. So just let me know. Hey, what's really cool, we have 14 people here now and we have 23 likes. That's awesome. Okay, thanks from Stephanie. Wonderful. Well, I'm going to take a drink. You guys decide if you have any more questions, or we can call it a night if you're done. because I know some of you have other things to do. Okay, while you're doing that, I'm going to grab that link for you. And then it'll be there right in the chat. So what else can I say? Let's keep this conversation going. I'm not really good at scat. Okay, here we go. Sorry, got to rearrange all these windows again. There we go. Okay, so this link is for the books. And if you want to sign up for the third Saturday gathering on Zoom, and that's free. I do that if you sign up for my list, if you become one of my VIPs. So we meet on the third Saturday of every month at 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Zoom. That is a call where you can ask personal questions. This one is just metaphysical. So we go into anything and everything, and I channel the answers for you. It's a lot of fun. It's a very high vibe. And being able to see each other really raises the energy. So we always do a little grounding in the beginning, which is really lovely to get the energy in the right place, and then set our intentions and have this amazing time together. I would love to see you all there. I'm just giving you there's your VIP link if you want to join us on that Saturday. And those videos, once they're done, then I upload them with only my face showing, so that anybody who spoke, their identity is protected, because it is going public on YouTube. And I realize not everybody wants their face up there. But I am thinking, you guys, let me know what you think about this. I've been considering trying an experiment where I'm there on Zoom. You guys are on YouTube in the chat like you are now, but you have the Zoom link, and I put you in the waiting room and then bring you on one at a time to ask your questions so we can see both of us when we're talking, which would be a whole different experience. So let me know how many of you would be willing to do that. And if there's enough interest, then I might just schedule something extra and do that just for fun and see how it works out. Because, why not? Let's mix things up. Okay, let's see if there's any more questions here. Kathy, you're still here. You've gained so much from the others and you're good. Awesome. So glad to hear that. Stephanie, you said 24, you forgot. I don't know what the 24 is. Warrior Girl, is Russia retreating or are they regrouping? Let's ask. I know what I think, but I want to know what Metatron thinks. So, Russia, are they retreating from Ukraine? It's a ruse. It's a ruse. They're not retreating. It's a game they're playing. They're pretending to retreat, to, take people off their guard. It's false. Can't believe it. Donna, is it okay to do Reiki self-treatment during the meditation? Absolutely. You could do Reiki anytime. I can't imagine that it would be harmful. But here's the thing about that. If when you're doing it, it doesn't feel like you think it should, then don't do it. Very simple. All of this energy work, there's a lot of discretion involved. It's always about doing what feels best to you. So if you think it's a great thing, try it and see. If it doesn't work out the way you thought, then no problem. You learned something. If it does, you might have discovered something that gives you even a more expansive experience. Like you'll find on my YouTube, there's a video where I combined Ho'oponopono and EFT. And it was just something that I was inspired to do because I had used EFT for years off and on when I needed it, mostly for physical stuff though, more than emotional. And I had tried Ho'oponopono. There was something about it that was really intriguing, but I don't know, I just didn't feel it. I didn't feel like it was doing anything, but I knew EFT was doing something. So one day I was inspired to mix the two together. And it was so cool and it felt more powerful. So I made I think it's a 2 or 3 minute little video showing you how to do it. So that's on there too. You can, I think if you search for EFT, you'll probably find it. It's been maybe over a year or even 2. I don't remember now. Time is flying. But yeah, there's a video on that. So like that, just experiment with things. If you are inspired, that might be your angels inspiring you. So go try it and see what happens. You might really surprise the heck out of yourself. You might discover a whole new modality. For some of us who are healers, that's part of what this journey is about. It's gathering all these tools, and then you combine them because you didn't get them all to use just individually. If you have all of that power, put it together in something unique that serves at an even higher level. That's how a lot of these modalities were invented to begin with. So don't suppress that. Let it flow and expand. You might surprise yourself what you come up with. Kathy says that's a good question. She's a Reiki master. Awesome. Awesome. Michelle, you have a question about guides. Do they change during your lifetime? Do you have different guides when you need them to help you with different situations? So guides, you've got this massive team in your records. They're all performing different tasks, and they're hierarchical, by the way. So they serve at different levels. Like some work individually with you or in groups with you. Others are not going to connect with you directly. They're behind the scenes kind of guides. Then you have this inner team of, it's usually 5 or 6, occasionally it's 7. They're right here with you, surrounding you all the time. So close that if you stumble, you can reach out your hand and they'll support you. It's that kind of an inner circle. They're the special guides that are here with you in the 3rd dimension, where the others are in 5th dimension. So for those guides, they're going to stay the same. They're not going to change. The ones in the records are not going to change. However, if you have something special that you're working on and you feel like you need extra help above and beyond what you already have, you can call in a special assignment, guide, angel, whatever you want to call them, doesn't matter, to help you with a special assignment. Then they can stay or they can go when the assignment's over. That's up to you. But the ones in your records are pretty much going to be always the same. Likewise, the ones that are in your inner circle. So I hope that makes sense. Okay, I think we're at the end again. We're almost at the top of the hour. Any last questions before we wrap things up, you guys? I appreciate those of you who could stay and hang out for longer. It's so delightful. Jennifer, just how massive is the guide team? Is there an approximate number range? Yeah, actually, now that you ask, it's Legion. That's what I've been told every time I ask. Your team is Legion. And that's because we are such complicated beings that it takes a legion to help us. So picture this, Jennifer. Your guides have got this whole path mapped out for you so that you could connect with somebody else and have an experience, part of something that you planned in your pre-birth planning. They got all this going, and then you make a choice that's different from what they anticipated. You take a detour. Now you're not going to connect with that person or situation that they had all mapped out. That was coordinated, by the way, with your team and however many people were involved, their teams. That's a lot of coordination. Now somebody's mucked it up, or maybe a couple people have mucked it up. They got to get in there and start moving things around and changing to recalibrate so that you can still have that experience or something similar that will still get you where you were wanting to go. Can you imagine how many it takes to do that? So Legion is the answer. More than we can imagine. And think about that. If Creator gave you a legion, how special are you, right? Michelle, it makes sense. Great. Awesome. More thank yous. You're so welcome. I'm just happy that you're here and I'm not talking to myself. That would be kind of boring. Hugs back to you, Susan. Gratefully accepted. So anything else, or should we sign off? What say you? It lifts you up. And gratitude. Yeah, me too. like I said, I'm high as a kite here. You know, it's going to take me a while to come down after this. I guess I'm going to have to go write some more stories. And Susan C says, you thank the creator for even existing and caring for us so much. Yeah. Isn't it amazing? It's just boundless how phenomenal it is that we are that loved and that cared for. Just, it never ceases to leave me gobsmacked. And I'm grateful for that word. That is such a great word. That came from the British. It's a perfect word to describe so many things. You're welcome, Jennifer. Kathy, you're signing off. Good night, Kathy. Thanks for being here. Linda, you're so welcome. Hugs from Warrior Girl. Donna says, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, you guys. Well, I guess we will wrap it up 5 minutes early. How about that? We can let this video start doing its thing, processing, so that it will be available for more people to see. So remember, please share it. Get it out there to more people. They need to hear this message. They need to know that they are magnificent, resplendent, brilliant, and perfect, just as they are, so that they can join us in this journey to Earthtopia and getting us out of these horrible wars and getting rid of all the corruption. All that amazement is still in front of us. So it's an exciting journey, and thank you all for being on it with me. All right, till next month, or till the third Saturday if you're joining me then.